This is the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast, where we have conversations with everyday martial artists about their histories and how martial arts influence their daily lives. You are listening to the abbreviated version of this podcast, which is the first 20 minutes or so of the show. Please consider supporting the show by subscribing on our Patreon page, www.patreon.com/MALMAG, and for about the price of one coffee shop coffee per month, you can get access to 4 new podcasts each month, 1 week before their YouTube release dates. You also have access to all of our existing shows, which at this point is about 100 hours of shows for you to enjoy. Individual shows can be purchased at our Gumroad page. That is malmag.gumroad.com. If you're looking for some sticks for FMA, some cool t-shirts, or even a course on Dos Manos, have a stop by martialartslifestylemagazine.com and click on the store tab or on the courses tab for that course. This week I sit down in Marina del Rey and I talk with Professor Gary Padilla. He's a good friend of mine and the head of the Brazilian Jiu Jitsu program at the Inosanto Academy of Martial Arts. We talk about how he got involved in martial arts and what drew him to Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, as well as some of the other amazing things he's doing in the movie industry and with women's self-defense and much more. Sit back and enjoy. Welcome to the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast, and I'm sitting down in Marina del Rey, and I'm very excited about today's show because this is somebody that I can say has been a dear friend to me probably for double-digit years now. It doesn't seem that long, but it's been quite a while, and someone I look up to, and I've been looking forward to getting him on the show for a long time. I want you guys to welcome Professor Gary Padilla.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Awesome. We've been talking about this for a while.
Yes, we have, and I'm finally glad to sit down and share this time with you. We do share time together, training, but
and talking too.
And talking,
yeah.
But it's just a little bit different today, and I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, it'll be neat. I'll get to learn. I know a bit about you, but it'll be great to learn even more. Tell us how you got started in martial art training.
As a kid, you know, we did the whole boxing thing and wrestling a little bit and whatever was going on at the rec center. I could say this for sure, that the training back then was not as safe, you know. But it did teach me how to fall correctly at a very early time.
Now you grew up in Los Angeles, right? I'm guessing because
Yes.
you're a hardcore Dodger fan. So I mean.
Right. Yeah, I've my father was in the military, and he brought us here to California at a very early age. It was my parents, my mom's dream to live by the beach where the movie stars lived. And they were very young, and come from very small towns in New Mexico and Colorado. But I was raised here in California. I'm lucky as a kid that I got to grow up and ride horses in Colorado with my family and do all that kind of hunting and fishing stuff, and then also, you know, hanging out on the beach and living that lifestyle. So I'm really lucky as a kid.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you did some boxing, and you said learning how to fall properly. So was it judo or wrestling?
I guess it was judo.
Yeah. It was something like that.
You know, it was whatever they, you know, they called it this karate or whatever the 6-week, you know, classes were, karate or kung fu or whatever. But it was I don't really believe it was so organized. Mm-hmm. And but it was just a taste of what was to come in my life. As I got older, I would train a little bit with my cousins who are involved in MMA. I had the opportunity to work with many MMA people in the past, and then I saw the first UFC on tape, actually, and then I just said, "Hey man, I want to check this jiu-jitsu stuff out." You know?
Oh wow, okay.
And I remember when I did want to check it out, I found a magazine, and the Machado brothers were on the cover, and I saw that they were in the Valley. Was working in the Valley, and I walked into Jean Jacques Academy in March of '97, and I haven't left. I've been there with him, training on a regular basis since that time. So it's been a good, fun run.
Yeah.
What interested me in jiu-jitsu when I read the magazines was the street defense part of it, and in some ways the classical martial arts, which I enjoy also. I don't want to. We're saying that, oh, that's a street art,
Right.
and I kind of, that was the aspect that I really was interested in learning from that. Much more than the competition. Competition was not very big at the time, but it was a great experience, because when I walked into the Machado Academy in Tarzana, I got to meet the brothers, and one of the main instructors at Jean Jacques Machado School was Inosanto Magno. He owns Street Sports now.
Oh, yeah.
And he was one of my main teachers in the morning, and then Jean Jacques in the evening.
Wow.
I dove into jiu-jitsu.
I gotta say.
Yeah.
That's really great. Were the brothers teaching a lot more together at that point?
No, they all had their own academy, but they were sometimes at the school together. And they didn't really, as far as I know, train together as much, all together, but I did get to witness all the brothers train together at Jean Jacques School when he was preparing for Abu Dhabi. And by that time I had been training for a few years, and I was part of that team that helped Jean Jacques get ready for Abu Dhabi. That was exciting training.
Oh, I'll bet.
And it was intense training. We talk about that now, the people that were there at the time, and we said it's kind of hard, it would be very difficult to duplicate that intense training that went on at that time.
Yeah.
But it was fun, and it was great to see what he accomplished the first time in Abu Dhabi.
Right.
And it made me even more grateful to be his student.
Indeed. Well, I think that's a really interesting time period. So you started in '97, so UFC was about '94, '93, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah, and so I remember, I think I was a subscriber to like Black Belt magazine and all the magazines. And I remember starting to see the Gracie ads, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, wondering, okay, this is interesting. Brazil's in South America. Jiu Jitsu is a Japanese word, and I'm like, what is this? This sounds really interesting. And I remember seeing the ads for it probably somewhere in the very late 1980s. So you're kind of in that first decade, really, of it kind of being here.
Yes.
When you got started.
I was at the academy, and I remember Simu Pala being at Jean Jacques School. I think Guru Dan started just not more than a year before I did. Training. It was. I don't think there were more than 5 academies in Los Angeles at the time.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
There couldn't have been too many. It was when I started to research and wanted to do the art, and I wasn't sure where I was going to be, but I'm glad that Jean Jacques School was the closest one to my school, which was, my house, 72 miles away.
Okay, here I'm thinking you were just right around the corner.
No. Everybody
yes.
was traveling far to train
Wow.
jiu-jitsu at that time. Guys were coming from Bakersfield, 100 miles, just to get a. There was not schools like there are now.
Right.
It's blown up school-wise. So it's way more accessible than it was at that time. No
Right.
books, no tapes.
Right.
It was all first-hand learning.
Yeah.
And in '99 was the first time I came with Jean Jacques to the Inosanto Academy. He was doing seminars, and we were training with shoot fighters there Saturday morning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
So that was all Yuri Nakamura's people.
Yuri and Eric Paulson.
Eric Paulson, nice.
Yes. It was very, very exciting for me to be at Guru Dance School.
Wow.
Because as a kid, watching the movies and the lineage and all that was, I was that kid in the backyard building the nunchucks out of broomsticks.
Of 100 and some odd podcasts, 104 I think I've done now, the broomstick nunchucks are a very common thing across a lot of ages. It's amazing how many of us went and constructed some kind of...
It took some skill to keep that old wood from splitting.
Oh, God. It took some skill to swing those just awfully made things around, too.
They were actually too light. I did a pretty good job of beating myself up with those things.
Exactly. That's why I used to laugh about how all the legal nonsense with it. And I'm like, those things are always more dangerous to the darn person holding them than they are to the person they're trying to hit with them.
Right. But it's been since that little kid in the backyard to having the opportunity to teach at the Inosanto Academy. That's more than a wildest martial arts dream to teach alongside Guru Dan.
That's great. What's interesting, and I made this observation with several people that I've talked to, is there's something about the sort of collection of martial arts that are around Dan Inosanto that people are willing to travel great distances to do, where you wouldn't say, somebody say, oh, I'm going to go 70 miles to study karate. Okay, well, if they're going to do that, they're probably going to go 7,000 miles to Okinawa, So I've seen committed people with different arts, but there's more people committed to travel these distances to learn from people who may be top of the game, maybe somewhat middle of the game or whatever, but there's something about these particular arts that people will travel for. So what was it that motivated you to go 70 miles? It was one way, right? So you're coming from... You're coming from like San Dimas or someplace.
No, I was at that time I was living out in the Lancaster area.
Oh, okay. So, desert.
Yeah. I think for me the training, the excitement of actually putting into use of the technique against a struggling opponent. Mm-hmm. That's something that's very difficult to replicate with certain arts.
Yeah.
I think that the physicality of that. Mm-hmm. I think with jiu-jitsu and the grappling arts in general, that that physical contact and the ability to build a relationship with someone very quickly, that you're trusting and taking care of each other while you're trying to destroy each other. There's those kind of dynamics are not easily. I don't know. It's easy to get hooked. It was for me.
Yeah, there's a bonding there that I think humans like to bond, and this is an interesting way to bond, and we all kind of laugh at it. We love getting together with people who basically kick our ass, and we love them for it.
Right. The challenge of that I've had over the years with some great training partners and great friends. Mark Armstrong, Jay Sobalos, they're all head instructors at Jean Jacques School.
Yeah, let's give them a shout out. You bring those guys in for camp a lot that you do.
Yes.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I've had countless wars on the mat with these guys.
That's my favorite introduction. Every time you introduce them, like, I've had countless wars with these guys.
And I feel like they always have my back in everything that we do in jiu-jitsu, along with Jean Jacques, of course. But yeah, these encounters and these training sessions and the pushing of each other really helps you develop as a martial artist.
Yeah.
But also as much as a martial artist as you learn to care for each other.
Right.
And to learn how to take care of people in the process.
Right.
The journey of martial arts has been quite extraordinary for me.
Yeah.
I've been teaching now. It'll be 15 years coming up at the Inosanto Academy.
Yeah.
So everything that I've experienced as an instructor at that academy has just helped me, and I would hope all martial art does this to everybody, but helps them become a better human being and see life in great terms.
Right.
Learning to fight is not as difficult as it might seem, but being on the mat and training and you can honestly helps you become a better person.
Yeah.
And I've grown as a person, and I don't know that I would have been in the place in my life today if I did not have martial arts as a foundation for what I do.
Do you think that helps come from, especially jiu-jitsu? The one thing I admire about it is you guys go live with it all the time. It's an art that goes live a lot. So you are constantly in a position of basically, for lack of better words, having your ass handed to you. So there's a humility that you have to learn pretty quick.
Oh, definitely, yes. I think with that idea of how you spar in jiu-jitsu, you can really get out of yourself, really get out of you're having problems, whether it's in a relationship, work, and you get on the mat and your whole focus is from not getting choked and trying to choke somebody or armbar or submit someone. Your thought process changes away from your troubles outside of the in the real world. They're gone for that moment.
Right.
And it does teach you to focus and to be focused on the problem at hand. And with that, you can apply that thought process that you learned from a physical game to a mental game, and help you focus on your outside issues and get them. I really like the discipline, and as I instruct the kids and I instruct the adults, I can see that just being consistent, that discipline of being consistent at training and coming to class a few times a week, you see everybody's focus change over a period of time.
Right.
It's an amazing thing to watch the children, how scattered they say a 5-year-old comes into class and stays for a couple of months, and then all of a sudden it's just hyper focused.
Yeah.
I had great experiences with parents and them coming and telling me how their child has developed. That's really cool. One of the girls, I think she was 5 years old, wanted the stripe on her belt, the first stripe.
Right.
The first stripe comes after they have learned all their exercises and do them correctly. And the 5-year-old was extremely smart. She had an argument why she should have the stripe to me, and she presented a really good argument.
That's funny.
I mean, I almost wanted to give it to her. She argued so well. But I explained to her that I know you and I understand you know the exercises, but you have to perform them correctly.
Right.
So
you're like, good argument lawyer, but you're arguing with the judge.
Yeah. But it was good, man, and I was impressed with that part of her intelligence.
Yeah.
So then the dad tells me one day he was looking for his daughter in the house, 5 years old, mind you.
Yeah.
And he didn't know where she was. Okay, where's my daughter? He's calling out to her, and he sees that the garage door was partly open. So he looks in the garage, and there's the daughter practicing on the mats that he has in his garage, the technique.
Oh, wow.
Without anyone telling her.
Marvelous.
And I said, when you see that kind of determination and discipline in a child, she wants that stripe.
Right.
Which is a good motivation, but the idea of her wanting to be and perform well at Right. I told the parents, you never have to. This girl's going to go. Whatever she does, just let her be.
That's right.
Whatever she wants to accomplish, she knows.
She's self-motivated. Yeah.
She's self-motivated to have the discipline.
That's awesome.
And I do see the parents sometimes a little skeptical because their children are not so well the first month of training.
Yeah, of course.
And they worry about it. And I said, just as long as they're having fun, and then the next thing you know, they're there.
Yeah.
They're right along with everybody else.
Right.
So this idea with somebody getting accepted into a community is a really good
Yes.
good thing with everyone.
With everyone, yeah.
I think it's they learn to take care of each other.
Yeah, yeah.
And they learn to be good to each other.
Right.
And not discouraging each other or putting each other down. That they're building up a community of support.
Mm-hmm.
And we need that kind of stuff in the
Oh,
world.
absolutely.
You know?
I mean, I think children are probably most vulnerable, obviously, because that's where we have those formative years, where, you get betrayed by people you thought were your friends, or, you feel like a loner or ostracized for some reason. And, we're all looking for that community. That's a human nature.
Right.
And yeah, if you make, I think, younger people more secure in that, then you'll make better adjusted adults for
Exactly.
sure.
And the ones that are more experienced, instead of saying, something negative about, they pick them up. They help them learn.
Right.
And I encourage that kind of stuff in that class.
Absolutely.
Also, not just in the kids class, in my adults class, I tell them, you want to make this partner better.
Right.
So you have a better partner to train with.
Right.
So you help them learn. They're going to get better. They're going to push you to get better, and it just keeps building off of that.
100%.
And that kind of community is really a great place to be.
Yeah, it's worth its weight in gold.
Yes,
for sure, for sure. Well, Professor, you said you've been at the Inosanto Academy for 15 years, and that is like a good career in any field. Spending 15 years in any one thing, teaching. Like if you're 15 years in a school system, that's like a career. And we're talking about something we're doing. We love it. We don't really count the years. So tell me how you made the transition. Like what made you want to teach, and then how did you get that particular gig? Because that's a pretty coveted gig. I mean, seriously, it's the same here. I teach several classes there, and I almost have to sit back and think about, well, how the hell did that happen?
Right.
Like I was just a student, all of a sudden now I'm teaching some classes there.
Oh man, Tim, I'm going to tell you truthfully, I do, pinch myself. Is this real?
Yeah,
Is this real? Because I've had the great experience of people saying, "Man, this is great. You're a 4th degree black belt under Jean Jacques Machado, and man, you teach at the Inosanto Academy."
Yeah, and it's a thing. It's jiu-jitsu, so it really is your program at this point.
Yes.
Because we teach a lot of different stuff, and realistically, the people who then sub for you are either handpicked by you or they're somebody that you've brought up through the ranks.
Right.
So this really is, I mean, your program here.
Yes. If I do have sub, it's my black belt Scott Yusa, or I have one of the black belts.
Yeah.
And this concludes the abbreviated version of the podcast. Please consider supporting the program by going to www.patreon.com/MALMAG and subscribing to the show. You can also purchase this individual episode or any individual episode at our Gumroad page. That's malmag.gumroad.com. Thank you for listening to this episode with Professor Gary Padilla. Coming up next week, Ryan Teal is back for part 2 of his interview. Our Malmag online store at martialartslifestylemagazine.com has a full selection of Timmy B's brand sticks for FMA and Krabiker Bong. Timmy B's brand now selling in Japan as well. Beautiful Timmy B's brand shirts and Dos Manos shirts are available with new t-shirt designs and more products coming soon. An online course in the Dos Manos method for FMA is available under the Courses tab. More courses coming soon. Check out the Places to Train tab to find schools near you, and click on the Events Calendar page to see what seminars and events are happening all around the world. And of course, visit our main page for articles on the martial arts. Music by Jackal Relic. Martial Arts Lifestyle Magazine and the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast are trademarked and copyrighted by TNT LLC.